families and parents and teachers and training and being with you awesome teachers for over 18 years. So I'm just going to ask Mia to take it away.
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy that you're here with me today. I'm going to talk today just about the best approach to guide parents and children during this crazy time of COVID-19. I also want to talk about some boundaries that you can put into place for yourself, and how do you tend to your family while you're also trying to teach the masses. But first of all, I really, truly, from the bottom of my heart, I want to talk to you today and just give you the accolades that you deserve on what you've done over these last few weeks. You have had to create an entire curriculum on the drop of a dime. And I know that hasn't been easy. I know that's been challenging because we're going through our own emotions on how do we deal with what's happening. And yet we're asked to still continue to teach our students. Some students are thriving. Some are feeling challenged. Some parents are feeling stressed and they feel like there's a lot on their plates. Some of our administrators have told us that the grades don't matter. Yet we're still asked to continue to present this curriculum. I want to let you and give you permission to give yourself some grace, first of all. This is a challenging time for everybody. And we have always, as teachers, I like to talk the mind of a teacher, but the heart of a parent is what I always say when we're working with others. And parents, as you know, that our word holds a great deal to them. How many times have you heard a parent say, hey, I used your name when I was trying to get Johnny to do something? Our word is very, very strong in a household. And so there's a lot of pressure at times, but I want you to know that what you're doing right now for families is providing this grounding connection that we all need right now. It is very important to keep us connected somehow. That's my first part, is just to say thank you and that we appreciate you very much and all that you are doing and the time that you're taking to create this new sense of reality to all of us. In talking about giving the best approach and guide to parents, I always feel like we have to allow them to know that they're doing the best that they can as well. It is difficult for some parents. We put so much pressure on ourselves as a parent, and we feel like how our children are behaving is a reflection of who we are and how we parent. I heard one parent say to me the other day that she never realized how much control her children actually had in the house. And I thought, yeah, we're learning a lot about families. We're learning a lot about ourselves. You think about the fact that 46 states have closed their schools, which has affected over 56,000 million people in the country, right? 56 million people. And how we're all dealing with it is all very personal. Human connection is critical. And we've just been told that we can't be around anybody. Just because we're socially disconnected, I feel like we have to even spend more time emotionally connecting. And how do you do that in a virtual world? You have to come up with some pretty creative ideas. How do you get children to be excited? How do you get parents to be excited? Parents are now told to work from home. No matter what your child's age is, they all learn differently. They are all trying to figure this out. Some children need more guidance than others. Parents are trying to work and children are trying to do their schoolwork. How many times have you sat with your own children and had to help them through their homework? It's a challenge, but this human connection is instrumental right now with parents, with teachers, and with our students. And with that, we also have to give ourselves, like I said before, that grace. I recommend to try reaching out to parents. I know some of you have 28 to 35 students. Some of you have hundreds of students, whether you teach college courses and you're now having to create this curriculum at home, or whether you're teaching preschool. They're all very different in their ability of how they learn. Preschool, for example, is all hands-on, right? Power of play. It's created this emotional and social environment. College students, it's how do I get them to take what I'm teaching them, comprehend that, and retain that information so they can move forward in the next years to come, right? So we all are struggling as teachers with our own obstacles. And we have to look at each obstacle and take each obstacle very individually. We have to look at our resources that we have. NAEYC right now, NAEYC.org, is giving some great resources. I'll say that again, NAEYC, NAEYC.org is giving some great resources on how we can help our families emotionally, physically, and the curriculum as well. I believe that it is critical to, when you're approaching and you're guiding parents and children, to think of the mind of a teacher and a heart of a parent. And I can't say that enough, because it takes that pressure off of us and it allows us to work from our hearts. We are all passionate in what we believe in. And now it's our time to shine, and let our students and our parents know that we're here to be there for them. So how do we do that? What's the best approach? Get some boundaries, set some boundaries immediately. Set those boundaries, make that very clear, set up a routine, whether you are working on the same, I know some schools are doing Skype, or some are doing Zoom, some are Flipgridding, some are also, Marco Polo is another one, Google Photo, Google Doc is another one as well, Google Hangout are great ones. These are all the forms and set up these boundaries. I have found, even for myself, I answer emails at all times of the day, right? I have learned, for me, to say, these are the times that I'm going to be teaching. These are the times that I'm going to be working. So setting those boundaries up for your parents and for your children, not only is that going to help them, but it's going to help you as well. Also, too, tending to your own family. You have to do that. One of the things I always say is we need to put our mask on first before we can help others, right? So you need to allow yourself to do that. These boundaries will all help that. And when I say setting up boundaries, it's setting up a routine. We know from studies that during a time of stress and crisis, it's common for children to want to seek more attachment to their parents. So by setting this routine up, it's going to help not only parents, but you and their students to know that this is our work time. Maybe asking parents, hey, talk to your children about, this is your time to work. This is mommy, daddy's time to work. Give them an own space. Also, what an amazing opportunity we have right now to teach our children some lifelong skills, right? Get them cooking dinner. At certain ages, teach them how to balance a checkbook. Teach them how to make the bed. Give them some responsibilities, because in a time of stress like we're in right now, they want to feel needed. They want to feel their place in the home, and they want to feel like they can make a difference. They need to feel that they are contributing to our family. So by allowing them to take the cues from you, right? Children follow our behavior, and they take our cues and they figure out how to deal with their own emotions from what we're doing. I'm not saying you can't stress and you can't cry and do the things that you feel, but when we're talking to children and we're working with our parents, let them understand that they got this. Keep reassuring them. I also feel too that for us as teachers, get our parents to let them go outside. it's not just about the academics. Like I said, give them lifelong skills, but also it's in most areas of the country right now in the world, the weather is beautiful. So let them splash in a puddle if it's raining. Go dance in the rain. Also have some outside time. I feel like that is really, really important. Encourage them to connect, even though they can't go give their grandparents a hug or the neighbor a hug. There are other ways for us to feel connected, writing a letter, drawing a picture, even going down to the end of our driveway with some sidewalk chalk. I don't care if you're 4 or 44, write a message on sidewalk chalk. Some people in the neighborhood are going on bear hunts. They're putting bears in the windows, and kids are walking by trying to find bears. There are people putting messages of be kind, we're in this together. Allow children to feel connected and to feel that they are making a difference. And as teachers, we can encourage that. We can empower children to be a closer community. Never in our history have we had to a world on a global matter deal with something like this. So now's the time. Now's the time. I'm going to take some questions in a few minutes, but I do want to say one thing. My goal is to someday look back at all of this and take this as a time where we got an opportunity to spend with our family, to maybe have dinner with one another, maybe take things a little bit slower, or find a hobby that you've missed and that you're finding a love, so we can try to focus on the positive piece of this. I know that it's hard. I know we've lost lives. I know we've lost jobs. I know that some children might not be safe in their homes. But what we can do as educators is be there to support them and to give them this connection that we're all hungry for right now. So I'd love to open up. Susan, I know you have some questions that people have already asked. Do you want to throw some at me?
Let me unmute here. Thank you, Mia. I think that's really comforting and encouraging at the same time, and I think that's what we have to be here. We all have to be courageous and then find our own safe people that we can go to that can give us the comfort we need. And so let's keep building ourselves up and realizing that the parents are looking to us. I mean, Mia and I both have been teachers for many, many years, and we know how this feels. But at the same time, we need to make sure that we are getting support from people that can help us be stronger. So don't forget yourself. One of the things that parents and families are asking, I keep hearing from teachers saying, my parents just want worksheets. They're just they're so overwhelmed because they're working at home, and they really think that if I give them a bunch of worksheets, then their children will be quiet and let me work. What do you say to that?
Right, it's filling up that time.
Yeah.
Right? They want to fill up that time. There are many ways besides worksheets to fill up time. I love loose parts. Doesn't matter what age you are. Loose parts is when you just gather things around the house and you kind of create, right? This is an amazing opportunity to allow people to use their imagination, whether they're a high school student, whether it is a 4-year-old, right, or even a college student. I think this is an incredible time to allow parents to guide our students and our children into being creative. Like I said, it's a great opportunity for lifelong skills, cooking, helping around the house, getting them used to using their imagination and create. And it could just be as simple as a question a parent could ask their child, hey, there's a lot going on in the world right now. What do you think we could do to help someone else? Why don't you write out some things? Or if a child is really struggling, hey, why don't you write out the things that you are thankful for? Giving them other opportunities so it's not just a worksheet. This is a time where we have to allow our children to feel their own grieving as well, right? To some children, there's no closure. All of a sudden, they're here and they're gone. We have to come up with, as parents, ways to find that closure for them. Maybe it's writing a letter to every student in their class, something as simple as that, or writing a letter to their teacher. So looking at ways and having parents come up with having teachers come up with some ideas that parents can utilize besides a worksheet.
Yeah, and I want to also refer everyone who's listening and will be listening into the future, in the future, to our Everyday Parenting Solutions site, which has a tab that says resources. And we've got things from understood.org and things from some wonderful COVID-oriented sites that are particularly for these times, so that you can find some ideas in addition to what Mia said. I love the loose parts. Would you call that loose parts?
Loose parts, yeah, it's great. Like you can use anything from PVC piping to buttons. I mean, there's always something to do. It's just gathering some items and say, here's 10 items. What can you make out of this? You know, if you remember those icebreaker games that you used to play with the spaghetti and the yarn, you know, see how tall you can make this building. And it's coming up with even Google icebreakers. There's some amazing games that are so much fun for students. And it's easy. You can just put some links to your parents about icebreakers. So those are really fun. And you can Google loose parts. You can pick anything from your house and make it something. My daughter's learning how to sew. You know, I mean, there's certain things that are just exciting. My son wants to cook. So, you know, just being creative, thinking out of the box. Is your
to sew face masks?
Pardon me?
Is your daughter learning to sew face masks?
As a matter of fact, yes.
Big one.
As a matter of fact, yes. What are some other questions? I know you have a few.
Yeah, the other things are, let's see. How can I stay in the lives of my students through June 14th? And why is this important? Like, you know, I love what you said about, I love what you said about having your students suggesting to your parents that their children write a letter to everyone in the classroom. Now that is something that will take some time and yet provide some empathy on the side of the child and grow them in character, but also, you know, keep them connected. But the teachers that I'm talking to are saying, you know, I'm in these Zoom calls all the time. I'm trying to do FaceTime with all my students. I'm in the driveway sometimes with my students. Is this all really necessary? And how do I stay in their lives? Are there other ideas out there without killing me, because I've got my own family?
Yeah, good question. And that's something that's challenging because, again, closure is so important. We still try to live our own life. The boundaries help with that, but staying connected to families, there are many ways. I love writing an old-fashioned letter, snail mail. You know, snail mail is a great way to stay connected. I love Google Photo and Marco Polo too, because that's an app that they can use where they can go in at their own time. They can shoot a video. And they can shoot a video, and then the students can look back at those videos. You know, some students, especially for younger ones, it's hard to see their teachers. For older ones, sometimes they don't want to see their teachers. You know, to them, it's a snow day, it's a vacation day. But still, it's important for us to know, for them to know that we are here, because when they do need us, we want to say, hey, we're here for you. And it doesn't need to be 3 a.m. Right. So staying connected either by writing a note and mailing it, or doing something like Marco Polo or Google and shooting a little video, a daily challenge or a daily hello. That's a way to stay connected.
You know what I found? I've got some students that I work with through my church. And some parents are just overwhelmed. They say, you know, Susan, I can't even let my child do FaceTime with you. We were a 2-parent income family, and that's really too much. So I have to send him a little note or a video that he can look at. I think that's called asynchronous versus synchronous. And so that's the only way, is to give them total control of that. And then I've had 2 FaceTime calls last night from students that I didn't expect. All of a sudden, they just come up on my phone through FaceTime. So I've opened that channel. It's just like you said originally, everything is so individualized. I've got 2 kids who want to FaceTime me every day. And then I've got other kids who say, you know, I'll do it when I can. And then other kids who are sending me pictures of them drawing pictures on the driveway about a lesson that we've learned.
Right.
So there are some beautiful things happening, some new connections that would not have happened otherwise. So let's look for the blessings in some of this.
Yeah. And I know it's hard,
Um,
especially when we're working with financial strains. Families are
oh yeah,
responding differently, or
yeah.
sadly, the loss of a loved one. Everyone is going through their own challenges right now, and it's in a roller coaster of emotions. You know, 1 minute you're great, and 2 minutes later you're feeling stressed and crying, and then you're great again. So we have to. That's where our grace comes in, allowing ourselves that it's okay what we're feeling. It is okay for children to be pushing back a little bit, to feeling the frustration, feeling a little fear in themselves, because they don't know what's going on. They want to see their friends. They want to be connected.
So what you're saying is that we as teachers need to open our parents' eyes up to the fact that if they're seeing more temper tantrums than usual, if they're seeing more clinginess than usual, it's because of anxiety, and
Mhm.
they need routine, but not like we don't want to overwhelm the parents with routine, because then the parents will feel like, hey, I'm not a homeschooler. I've been hearing a lot
Right,
of pushback on that, and
right.
so what you're saying is let's give parents enough of a structure to say, okay, and I heard one lovely lady say that what she was going to do is say, I expect you to do these 4 things by the end of the day. When and how you do them is up to you, but
Yeah.
let's check them off of the list. Put that on your refrigerator. Let the kids see some anchors. Say, okay, the checklist is there, and then at dinner time, we'll talk about it. But
Mhm.
that is a loose enough structure that still gives them some security.
It
And
gives them a sense of security, and every child wants to feel, every human being wants to feel like they're making a difference and that they're connected. So, allowing children to be part of the solution is one of the best gifts that we can give them. Also, too, allowing them to feel like they're problem solving, right? That they can make a difference in someone's life. That's what they want to feel. Write a letter, draw a picture, put a bear in the window, things like that, that allows children. And as a teacher, we have the resources to guide them into. So I have some parents who are just gung ho and they want to do everything, and they want to do every lesson plan and every outside activity, and they want to cook every meal. And I have some that are just trying to get up this morning, you know. And so we have to allow everybody to be in the place that they're in, and also still provide them some guidance and some support to say, no matter where you are, here are some easy things to do.
That reminds me of what you've told me when we've had other discussions about teachers too. They're doing the same thing. Some teachers are going gung ho with all of these online lessons. And if it were me, I'd be saying, can I get some help here? So how do you suggest for some of these teachers who are just not into the tech lessons, how do they find a community? How do they find the support they need so that they can keep doing what their students need when it's really not natural for them? It's not something
Mhm,
that they
mhm. I love reaching out to other teachers. I know most teachers have friends that are teachers. I feel like I would hope that a lot of their administrators would kind of get them together. I've set teams up with my teachers, and so they're all working together as a team. We have 3 different levels of teams going right now, and so not everybody is having to do the entire thing. Um, and so they're working together and they're taking parts of the whole child, and they are coming up with each teacher is coming up with lesson plans for that part of the child. Whether for us it's gross motor, fine motor, language literacy, social and emotional. And so I found that by getting a team together, they are feeling less stressed. I also feel that every teacher, they usually have, if you're teaching math, you have other math teachers. Use each other for support. It's not showing weakness that you have to reach out to people. It's showing strength. And this is a time where our strength is encouraged, to support each other and be with one another. So I recommend teachers reaching out. You don't have to hold the whole world on your shoulders right now. There are resources.
I always refer to Brene Brown, who's the
Love her.
guru of
Yeah,
vulnerability,
love her.
that vulnerability requires courage. It's
Yeah.
okay to reach out because it's hard to, but at the same time, you find that everybody else wants to reach out too. And
Yep.
they'll find something from you if you find something for them. It just takes doing that first thing. So thank you for that. I
It
love the
does. And
team idea.
yeah, it does. And every school is doing something different. And that's challenging as well too. And I feel like teachers need to understand that we're not in competition with one another. Our goal is the common goal, and what's one other teacher is doing that might not be right for you and your students. And I've had parents actually come up and say, well, this school is doing this or this school is doing that. And that's hard as a teacher to hear that and say, I love that they're doing that. I have found that what we're doing is really allowing people to learn on an individual level. Everybody learns differently. And so we've come up with this curriculum that I really believe is allowing people to get what they need and still continue to be educated.
So as we start wrapping up, we've got about 3 more minutes. Could we do a little recap of where, like, we know next week is the beginning of phase 2 for Hanover County. We don't know what HCPS. I mean, do you have any, you don't have a crystal ball, or we would all be a lot better off if we all had a crystal ball. But do you have any suggestions for how we face Monday, which will be, or Tuesday, however the schools work, when this new thing comes in for some schools? I love the fact that you said we're not in competition. Let's borrow from each other. Let's realize that every county, every school is going to do it. Go with the personality of your county. As far as resources and where our teachers can get help on their own so that they can help the parents and families, you've already mentioned all of the video opportunities. We've got resources on EPS. Where else can they get, and how can they prepare for next week?
The first thing I would encourage people is to take this time as a mental and physical health retreat, is what I would do. Take this time to allow yourself to feel energized. I would also look at assessing what's happened in the last few weeks, where, how many students have responded, what's the results that you're getting. I would also look at, too, how can I connect in a different way? We're going to have to spin it around a little bit right now, because I know sometimes they're starting to get tired and bored, right? It's like, how many hours can I look at a screen? I'm getting bored of this. So how can we somehow make it fun? Play a game at the beginning of your Zoom if you're having to Zoom with your students. Add a little bit more human touch to it, in a sense. Look at thinking outside of the box. Because understand that children are trying to do some things in their own way, and they're trying to deal with emotions in their own way. I also think, like I said before, it's really important for children to have closure. So right now is a great time to look ahead and say, what can I do over the next month that's going to start to allow them to have this closure?
I saw in a newscast this morning, there's a little 4th grader reading books at night, every night, to anyone who tunes into her YouTube library, and it's called Storytelling with Maddie. And she's adorable. And she's no different from, she said, every time you read a book, you get smarter and smarter. That's her line. So, kids can think of things like that to do, but parents and teachers are probably out of ideas. So teachers, you can point them to things that you've seen, post things on your Facebook if you have one, make sure that some of these ideas that Mia has come through for you so that you can pass them on. And, have the courage to be vulnerable and say, sometimes I'm not going to get it. And sometimes my family is going to be a little messy. Life is messy, but we are all going to make it. On the other side of this, we're going to be stronger for it. What did you say about a photo book? You said something about doing a photo book.
Oh, I love, again, just part of closure is allowing, have the teacher put some type of photo book together. And you can do it online, so there's no cost to it, but allow it so the children can see. You can even ask, hey, shoot me a photo of what you've been doing during this stay-at-home shelter-in-place time. And then at the end of all this, maybe a teacher can put together a Google photo album and share that Google photo album with their students, just to kind of give some closure. And it could be some funny things, but just allow them to have that closure and to hold on. I would also recommend teachers to encourage parents and students that we are going to get through this. We are going to get through this, and this is just a blip right now that we're trying to work through, and we're trying to get through to the other side. But we will get there. We definitely will get there, and we'll do it together.
Yes, and we will find new ways to do it together.
Yeah.
I'm going to add one more thing because this photo book thing brought it up to me, and then I'm going to ask you to, say a final comment that you have for the teachers to wrap up. I got a picture from a family who has 4 teenagers. And I said, what in the heck are you doing to keep everybody okay? And she said, well, they have turned my family room into a fort. And they're teenagers, but they've got sheets up over everything, and they've got sleeping bags. It's just so they have something different. It is the best picture in the world, all 4 of them sleeping there in the living room in a fort. So, if a teacher wants to pass that on, like, hey, let your children regress and play. And what did they learn by doing a fort? They probably had to learn all sorts of scientific things to keep all of those sheets up in the air and to make sure that everybody was happy and safe. And then there's another picture. Engineering. And then there's another one of them discovering a new park down by Stony Point that I didn't even know existed. So, and they had to use the Google search and find something different. So they're not always going to the same place. So all of that to say that in the fall, I would love to know that teachers are going to be able to put up on the board, just flip after flip through all the pictures of everybody's good moments and maybe some sad moments, but say, this is the stuff that you guys did during COVID-19. And this is what we've all learned together. So I'm going to let you close for us, Mia.
Thank you for that. I encourage teachers to be okay with setting boundaries on themselves, giving their self the grace to feel what they're feeling, giving their self this opportunity also to get connected with their families. What a wonderful gift that is. I also, too, I want us to socially be distant, but emotionally connected, and figure out a way to do that that's right for you and right for your students. And also truly know that we are here to support you and help you in any way that we can. And I've been very impressed. A lot of websites right now out there that are doing everything they can to support us as teachers. And so I encourage you to look and see what's out there and to reach out to the ones that you love as well and ask for that support that you need. So I'm so glad that everybody was here today with us. I hope that I was able to lift your spirits a little bit, acknowledge all the hard work that you have been doing, because I know you have been putting everything out there and working very hard, and you are appreciated. Really, truly, you are appreciated, and you're not alone. So I thank you all very, very much.
Bye-bye.